So I suppose today we're going to review this film called Red Notice. It's the latest Netflix release, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. Amazing cast. We've lost the war, you understand? Art has lost the war against corporation. It happened a long time ago. What is the point in any of this? What's the point in fighting anymore? So yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds, yay. Yeah, I'm really happy to be talking about this film. So we've got these three actors, and they aren't really actors. They're not dramatic performers, they're just attractive selling points. It's like they're just brands personified. The ideas of people. These Hugo Boss models. I don't see Red Notice as a film. You can call me pretentious, but I just see it as a cynical template. I see it as a product, a calculated Netflix product. Like, I could start critiquing it like it was a normal film, like, oh no, there's some cheesy acting and plot holes and oh, bad CGI. But I really just don't care. I just see this gross McDonald's meal of a movie. When Netflix release a film like this, I just start to admire it on like a business level. Like, instead of, oh no, that's kind of lazy, I say, oh yeah, that's a wise decision on the studio side of things. You know, like the branding and the selling points and the broad appeal. It's like business studies. What have Netflix done to make Red Notice as profitable an investment as possible? Like, Netflix know what they're doing in that department, no doubt. They're one of the top dogs in the entertainment industry right now. They're clearly not going for something creative or artistic when they put out shit like this, so who cares? So yeah, we have Ryan and Gal and Dwayne. Big stars, huge popular stars. Three very well-known products. Three big guns that Netflix have here. That wouldn't have been cheap, that would have been like 2/3 the budget. So Netflix are sponging out on this one, so they want to ensure that they get the money back plus a lot of interest. It needs to be worth it. As is the case with pretty much every Hollywood film, there's product placement. Is it the kind of product placement that's a bit more subtle, like in the background there might be like a silhouette of a Mac or some shit, hidden off, you know, not too in your face? Or is it like a fucking Audi advert in Avengers when Tony Stark's not in focus but the Audi is?
You leaving town?
Flight's in an hour.
Yeah, it's the latter. The Rock uses a very nice car. They have a close-up of the logo appear on the like TV screen that's inside there. That's a probably really dated way of saying it, but you know, it's one of those smart cars that's like, oh, ready to go, sir, like fucking Jarvis. Little mini ad hidden in the film. Obviously, if you're going to set your film in the modern day, you're going to have iPhones in, that's like inevitable. It's just realistic, but here it's just in your face, it's just so obvious. They make a huge deal out of it cinematographically.
Phone.
Hey, sorry kid, no Coca-Colas allowed in here.
He knows what he's doing.
Sorry, I'm recording that the afternoon and it's getting dark now, so I'm just going to put a light on. Another branding point that kind of tangents off the product placement is the very overt attempts at being modern and relatable for both boomers and zoomers. And what I mean by this again is there's lots of iPhone uses, but again, like emphasis on the iPhones. Like, oh man, did you get this text or some shit like that. A lot of mentions of Instagram and Alexa in like the jokes and the comedy and the writing. All these relatable and trendy things. And you might not think anything of it, but I think it's definitely part of the branding. Everyone watching can be like, oh yeah, it's Instagram, isn't that cool, isn't it modern, oh isn't it up to date? It's gonna date the living shit out of itself by making these current and trendy devices such a big part of the film. Like in years to come when no one gives a shit about any of this. Oh look, Gal Gadot is watching Great British Bake Off, oh it's just like me. It's like a Russian guard watching a funny video on TikTok on his iPhone. That was a hysterical moment actually, sorry I take all of that back. Like a lot of superhero films follow the Marvel template, a lot of action films in general follow off of it. The Marvel template of blending action with comedy, but that very specific blending. So all of these action films have the same vein of comedy in them, and it's really repetitive. Ryan Reynolds is here to do his shtick. He's very popular, isn't he? So's Deadpool, and they make him do the Deadpool thing, like be all meta.
Look for a box that says MacGuffin.
Deadpool itself is like entry-level meta-comedy, like really obvious stuff, but this like pseudo-self-aware style of these superhero films and these action films is kind of a trendy thing at the moment as well. I say pseudo-self-aware because they never do anything clever with it. It's just like these little offhand jokes or remarks like, okay, you just look like a smart arse. You got a classic begrudging relationship dynamic between Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, The Rock, whichever fucking name it is. So like Hobbs and Shaw, or like Ride Along, or like Hobbs and Kevin Hart, or whatever, you know. I think The Rock made some kind of weird blood oath with the Illuminati of Hollywood where he can only appear in like buddy films. Again, with the corporate side of things, you have all of these gorgeous locations that they go to. There's a globe-trotting aspect to the film. Luxurious hotels, millionaire mansions. It's partially a production, but also a little bit of a vacation for the whole cast and crew. They film there, they advertise the hotel, The Rock gets to stay there for free, gets free minibar and room service. I suppose it's a little bit like James Bond, but James Bond has like good utilization of the locations as well. Like it's gorgeous, but they also make for good settings in like the action and the conflict of those films. These locations in Red Notice are just shallow eye candy. There's also a lot of very fake looking sound stages. You wouldn't want to make these shooting procedures too vigorous for The Rock. You can only withstand so much. There's this waterfall set that looks like some kind of bounty advert. You watch like the behind the scenes documentary of how they made Raiders of the Lost Ark and you see them exploring these jungles and shit, like going on a real adventure. And sometimes they go back to like a studio and make a set just for other bits, but they're always so passionate about it and make sure they get places that look really cool. They don't just arbitrarily send out a couple of location scouters. Oh, find somewhere that looks jungly, oh exotic, yeah. You have this establishing shot of London and it's just the most corporate illustration of that city. Almost all of the most obvious landmarks in one. Like Team America took the piss out of this kind of thing years ago. You've got these uber attractive women. I get Gal Gadot, she's just naturally attractive, she's a star anyway, so yeah, she's in the film. They still give her all of these costumes to make her look targetedly attractive. But then there's this FBI woman who also needs to be drop dead gorgeous. That's all they give that character is just good looks. It's an awful performance.
Oops.
Then rounding off all of these Netflix branding points, you have the Ed Sheeran cameo.
Ed Sheeran, who knew?
God, he's so cute.
I found a girl.
I think that just says it all, doesn't it?
I was in Game of Thrones! I'm Ed Sheeran, bitch!
Ed Sheeran. Ed fucking Sheeran. He's another one of those James Corden types, like someone we've just shat out to America. Like, sorry, but you deal with it now.
Excuse me.
Oi! Come on, then. Come on! Come on!
I don't want to talk about Ed Sheeran on a fucking film review channel. Why have you made me talk about him? This Ron Weasley bastard.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
And now I guess it's time to treat this thing like it was an actual film and like criticise it for all of the flaws or whatever. Or like the acting and the plot and what went wrong with the storyline and the storytelling. It was wrong from the seed. Kill baby Hitler.
We're not that different.
I really need to dissect this film to prove why it's bad.
Asshole!
Dwayne The Rock Johnson was miscast, but technically he's always miscast because he isn't an actor. I don't really watch any films with The Rock, but I'm pretty sure he's usually like the more charismatic, affable guy. Here he's trying to be more serious. He should just try and play himself, be a nice guy, innocent and friendly and affable. Why is he playing the straight guy? Because it just exposes how awful an actor he is.
Okay, that's impossible.
Is it?
Yes, it's impossible. What kind of security surveillance are we looking at?
This WWE motherfucker should be doing nothing but tongue-in-cheek performances. Just take a look at a scene.
You're under arrest, Agent Hartley.
Goss, look at me. Look at my eyes.
Is that supposed to be like a joke?
Look at me. Look at my eyes. I didn't do this.
Look into my eyes and see the truth. That's probably what convinced her even more so that you were full of shit.
I don't believe you.
What the fuck is that supposed to be? There's this other bit where he's putting on a performance within the film and that just makes the whole thing even worse.
You imbecile! Don't put your hands on me, peasant!
I can imagine someone who went to theatre school, someone who devoted multiple years of their life to the craft of acting, like studying it like a religion, and all they can land now is like background extras in like shitty sitcoms, if they're lucky, and they come home from that shite job at like 1 in the morning with like $50 for the whole week, and they put on Netflix because everyone's got Netflix. Oh, there's a new big film on, you know, it comes up, it's the first thing comes up, oh, I just put it on, I'm gonna go to sleep halfway through anyway, I'm knackered, starved and underpaid, and they see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on screen.
Don't put your hands on me, peasant.
They see a man with no acting skills to speak of, giving a shit performance in a film where he's probably making $60 million from, or like possibly more.
I don't need your apologies, I need a washroom.
And this person just thinking to themselves, this is the worst acting I've seen in my life, yet this person I'm watching is the most highest paid film star in the world. And they're just like, fucking hell.
We're not friends.
We're best friends.
The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, as mentioned before, are supposed to have this buddy cop-esque dynamic. That kind of just starts out of nowhere. It's like, okay, well, the buddy cop, it just begins. Because usually it's like, okay, they're mortal enemies at the start, which they are. But then when they're put together, initially they're supposed to be fighting a lot. And like, oh, you're the reason I'm in this joint to begin with. I'm in this pickle because of you. There's none of that. They just immediately become like semi-begrudging partners. There's no animosity. They just get along really easily. The Rock put Ryan Reynolds in prison and he just like, okay, nothing happens. There's no like consequence there. And again, pretending like this is a real movie, like it could have had the potential to be good if it just got these little things right. This film has no protagonist because, spoiler alert, the twist at the end is that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson isn't the protagonist.
You're right, I am the bad guy. You don't know me, Booth. You have no idea what I'm capable of.
The twist is he's been the bad guy all along, like Kaiser Sose, or however you fucking say that name. And to be consistent with this twist, the film keeps his character development and backstory to a breadcrumb minimum. Like, say if The Rock was giving an adequate performance, you have no real reason to care about his character. Like, it's underdeveloped, and Ryan Reynolds isn't a protagonist, he's just some arsehole. Gal Gadot is the antagonist. The Rock is supposed to be the central vessel for the audience, but then there's that twist at the end. Plot twist, The Rock is just another one of the arseholes. There's no reason to care about anyone. Oh wait, hang on there a moment, Batcho. You're missing something. Oh, maybe I am. It's supposed to be like that, you know, Tarantino and anti-heroes. Everyone's a dickhead, but you still like them. No, it's not like that at all, it's just a bunch of bullshit. But no one watching this film is going to care about any of that. They're not going to be thinking about it in that way. They're going to be too busy seeing if the Domino's pizza order was correct. As mentioned priorly, this film is an action comedy. The action is alright. There's one like scaffolding set piece which looked real, you know, wasn't done with loads of CGI. That was okay. Some pretty groovy, swooping camera shots, fairly fluid looking. But then a lot of the other action set pieces were CGI anyway. Nothing was standout, but the comedy was absolute ass. I could use my vast eloquence and try and explain to you why the comedy is as bad as I'm trying to say, or I could just reiterate a joke from the film, which I'm gonna do. So this FBI woman says to Ryan Reynolds, I'm gonna send you to the worst place on earth. And then Ryan Reynolds responds with, your Instagram account? If you thought that was funny, first of all, go fuck yourself. But yeah, you'll probably find the film funny if that joke was to your liking. There's no doubt that that joke is going to age just as well as the Don't Call Me Shirley gag from Aeroplane.
Keep making your jokes because I'm about to send you to the worst place in the world.
Your Instagram account?
It's going to be in the Hall of Fame of movie quotes. Most of the comedy lines do come from Ryan Reynolds as expected. I don't even like Deadpool. I've never found Ryan Reynolds funny. This is supposedly what unfunny Ryan Reynolds looks like.
Always watching, always listening. Kind of like Alexa, but with guns.
So if you already hate Ryan Reynolds, like fuck, this will be a purely masochistic venture for you. Other flaws to talk about? Bad CGI bull. Oh shit. Like, yeah, it would have redeemed the whole film if it was a good CGI bull. The Rock got rammed by the bull and wasn't hurt at all. You know, like CinemaSins, ding 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 ting cunt. Oh no, plot hole, unrealistic. It's just a shite movie version of Uncharted with empty corporate brands instead of characters. Inferior dialogue to those games, and that's saying something. Cringier comedic relief. However, it wasn't boring. It wasn't insufferable. Like a McDonald's meal again, but I didn't feel shit afterwards. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool, I can review that, that'll be fun. Well, it won't, it's not fun, by the way. It wasn't hard to watch, like the plot moved along at a good pace, so it made it easier to get through. Like, I remember Wonder Woman being like, oh, fucking hell, this is so long. You get these 2.5 hour shite action comedies, like, nah, it's not about that. If you like the word egg, you should probably watch this film. They use that word a lot, you know, egg, the third egg, or the second egg.
These eggs were thought to be nothing more than myth.
Intends to steal the egg of Cleopatra today.
I knew that you were gonna steal the egg. Booth gave us a fake egg. Why would the bishop go to the trouble of framing me when she already has the egg?
That's not the price for just one egg.
No one knows where the third egg is. Bureau intel says that the second egg is
After I stole the egg, he knows exactly where the third egg is.
I do not know where the third egg is, I swear to God.
gonna beat the bishop to the second egg.
The door to the egg room.
Already held the second egg, third egg.
Third egg never left Egypt. That the third egg.
Where's the third egg?
Third egg.
How are we gonna find this egg?
Right to the third egg.
Did you just choose me over the egg?
There's also a lot of Nazi imagery in this film, which is quite a surprise considering it's Netflix. I'd think they'd be all worried about showing swastikas and shit. Like, I just assumed they'd want to censor all of that stuff out, like censor out all of the nasty bits of history, pretend like it doesn't exist. It is a shame that the comedy genre has been lumped in with these generic action-adventure films. You can't just have your odd Superbad or Pineapple Express anymore. Never thought I'd miss Seth Rogen so much. Gal Gadot gave a better performance than she did in Wonder Woman, so it's an improvement there. It wasn't like a great performance, just like, oh, she's got basic acting chops in this one that she didn't have in Wonder Woman. Objectively, this is just inoffensive and bland with shitty acting and really shitty comedic relief. Again, it's a perfectly calculated, commercially viable template for a film. I would say don't watch it, but it's too late. Most people have seen it already. Apparently it's already broken all the records for most streamed Netflix release. But if you haven't already, don't watch it. If you believe in the craft of acting, or watch it, fuck it, who cares? Go ahead and fucking watch it. Who gives a shit? Do anything, go and snort a line of coke. It's a fucking worthless movie though. I repeat something that I say quite often in my reviews, which is, I wouldn't have watched this film if I didn't have to review something relevant. As is the nature of the film reviewer, they end up having to watch more shite than they would have done originally. Do not watch it, because it is absolutely shit. Gal Gadot.